How to cook chicken breast in the Instant Pot. We obviously start with the meat, and these are chicken breasts that are fresh / thawed / at room temperature, and we're using breasts without skin because let's be honest, nobody likes soggy chicken skin. So save that for some chicken crackling if your breasts come with skin on them. Now I will season the breast on one side with salt. You can also season it with pepper or any other seasoning you like, but I will keep it simple, so just salt for now. Turn on your Instant Pot and add a cup of water to it. I'm actually going to season the water with some salt, then add in the trivet which comes with the Instant Pot when you buy it. Now place your chicken breast salted side down in the Instant Pot on the trivet, and now you can season the non-salted side. Put the lid on the Instant Pot, turn the pressure knob to sealing position and pressure cook this on the high pressure setting for 6 minutes. Once that is done cooking, you want to set a timer for 10 minutes. After that timer goes off, you want to turn the pressure knob to the venting position and let out any steam that might still be there. Now pop that lid open and your chicken should be perfectly cooked and ready. Just look at that, perfectly cooked chicken breast in your Instant Pot. And it's the same cooking time even if you use double the amount of chicken breast. Remove the chicken from the Instant Pot and feel free to take a moment to admire the handiwork of the Instant Pot. After that, remove the trivet from the pot as well. And now you want to strain the liquid from the Instant Pot and keep it, because guess what? You just made a delicious and very clean tasting chicken stock. This is why I seasoned the water, so this is actually a proper salted chicken stock. How good is that, my friends? Now let me show you how to cook frozen chicken breasts. And this time I will not salt the meat before cooking it because we will shred the meat later and season it when we use it. So add a cup of water to the Instant Pot once again. Now place the frozen chicken directly in the water. Yes, you can use the trivet, but let's skip it for this one. It's not mandatory to use anyway. Put the lid on the Instant Pot, turn the pressure knob to the sealing position, and now we pressure cook this on the high pressure setting for 10 minutes. Once that is done, set a 10-minute timer, and when that timer goes off, turn the pressure knob to the venting position and let out any steam that is still there. Open up the lid and there are your chicken breasts cooked and ready. So remove the chicken breasts from the Instant Pot and set them aside. Once again, strain out that liquid and you've got yourself a delicious but unsalted chicken breast stock. It's great for soups, sauces and much more. Now I will just slice into that chicken breast to show you how well it's cooked, and I will recommend that you also read the blog post on headbangerskitchen.com for all the additional information. And just look at how perfectly cooked it is, my friends. Absolutely stunning. That, my friends, is your frozen chicken breast cooked perfectly in the Instant Pot. Now I'm going to take one of the cooked chicken breasts and shred the meat using my hands. You can also do it using 2 forks, but seriously, get in there and use those hands. At the end, you'll have a bowl of delicious shredded chicken. Take another one of your cooked chicken breasts, and now I'm going to slice it into nice thick pieces. And just look at how perfectly cooked this chicken is. It's beautiful. This is actually from the first batch that we cooked from room temperature. And there you have it. Your perfectly cooked chicken breasts done in the Instant Pot, frozen and fresh. We've got a full chicken breast, one that has been sliced up, and the third one that has been shredded. And now I will show you some delicious and easy recipes using each one of these. So strap on your seatbelt and get ready for the chicken ride of a lifetime. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's cook. With our shredded chicken, we are going to make a delicious sandwich packed with loads of flavor. I start by seasoning my shredded chicken with some salt and some black pepper. I will add in some mustard mayo, which is a mix of mustard and mayonnaise, a few pickled chilies, and I'll just cut some spring onion greens into that well using my scissors for a bit of freshness and crunch. Give it all a good mix and our chicken filling is ready. Time to assemble the sandwich, and I'm using regular store-bought white bread. but you can use any bread you like. Lay on that chicken filling onto one slice of bread, cover it with the other slice, then just cut across diagonally and your sandwich is ready. And how good does that sandwich look? So delicious. You could even grill this sandwich if you like, but this works just as well. Now with our chopped chicken, we're going to make a delicious chicken salad. It's going to be super tasty and a great meal for any day of the week. First, we're going to make the dressing for the salad with some olive oil, to which I'm going to add some vinegar, and I'm using sherry vinegar. Season that with some salt and pepper and then give it a good mix. And our salad dressing is ready. Now in a large bowl, add some lettuce, some chopped baby tomatoes, some pickled red onions, some sliced green olives, the chopped chicken breast, and then pour the dressing over and give everything a good mix. And honestly, you can pretty much use whatever you like in this salad. If you don't like olives, use some capers maybe. If you don't like tomato, maybe add bell peppers instead. You get the idea. And now we're just going to finish this by crumbling some fresh goat's cheese over the salad. Once again, if you don't like goat's cheese, you can use any other cheese. And that is a quick and easy salad that you can make with your Instant Pot cooked chicken breast, and it's super delicious. Our final dish will be using the full chicken breast, and it will be pan-seared in butter and served with a delicious chicken gravy using the stock that we made from cooking the breast. Start by pressing the saute function on the Instant Pot and add in some butter. As the butter is melting, season it with some salt and some black pepper. We will also add in a splash of oil which prevents the butter from burning. Once that butter is melted, we add the chicken to the Instant Pot. Now the chicken is fully cooked, so all we want to do is get some color on it and brown the outside a bit. So make sure the heat is on high, and you just want to sear that chicken breast for maybe 30 seconds on each side. Once it has some color, remove it and turn the saute function to low on the Instant Pot. Then you add 2 tablespoons of regular flour and whisk that with the butter. And what we're doing now is creating a gravy. Now you want to add in the chicken stock bit by bit, and you want to keep whisking it. Remember, this is the stock that we got from cooking the chicken. So I'm using the salted stock, and that's why I won't add any more salt to this. Now the reason we add the stock slowly is because you want a nice smooth gravy. You don't want any lumps. So keep adding that stock slowly, and once it's all in, just let it cook for about 2 minutes and it will thicken up. And then in goes my secret ingredient, a glug of soya sauce, which will transform that pale brown sickly color of the gravy to a rich brown that will take you downtown. And that's it, the chicken gravy is ready, and it looks smooth, thick, silky, rich and delicious. I mean, that sauce is one smooth criminal. Now all you gotta do is pour that gravy on your chicken breast, which you can serve with a side of vegetables, and be generous and douse that bird in sauce. That, my friends, is your Instant Pot roast chicken with gravy ready, and it looks so good. Now you know that your boy got your back, so I'm gonna cut into that breast and show you how delicious and perfectly cooked that bird is. A simple and delicious chicken congee. So we're going to start with some fresh ginger, which is one of the main flavors in our congee. You want to get about a thumb-sized piece of ginger, like literally measure it against your thumb. Or if you have a huge thumb, maybe just go with a 2-inch piece of ginger. The first thing you want to do is peel the skin off, and I like to do that using a spoon. It's the easiest way to do it and get into all the nooks and crannies. Once that's done, our ginger is ready to use. Now I'm going to take a few slices of that ginger and cut it into juliennes. These are going to be used right at the end when we serve the congee. They are added and eaten raw. Next, I will chop up 2 small spring onions. Once again, these are sprinkled right at the very end over your hot bowl of congee to add a beautiful freshness and a flavor to it. and it also looks pretty. Now for this recipe I will be using full chicken legs with the bone and without the skin. In India, chicken is primarily sold without skin, so if your chicken comes with skin, I recommend removing the skin because it makes the congee more oily. I'd say use the skin to make some crackling and schmaltz. I've got a recipe for that. Click on the I button on the top right corner of the screen. I will also be using some chicken stock powder for that extra chicken flavor. If you don't have this, you can use a stock cube or a bouillon cube. But trust me, you want this extra chicken flavor. Now it's time to prepare our rice, and I will be using about 120 grams of rice for this recipe. Normally you would want to use jasmine rice, but since all I have is long grain basmati rice, that is what I will be using. Next, you want to wash and rinse the rice properly under some running water. It's important to always wash your rice. Just ask Uncle Roger. Anyway, you want to wash it till the liquid is more or less clear and your rice is ready to use. You can also soak the rice for like 30 minutes if you like. I will be using my instant pot for this recipe, but don't worry, you can also make this on the stove. Just make sure you read the blog post on headbangerskitchen.com for the cooking instructions. First, I add my rice to the instant pot, then that piece of ginger and also a full spring onion. Next, my chicken stock powder followed by some salt because I didn't have enough chicken stock powder, so I needed some salt as well. Then I add in 800 ml of water. If you didn't have chicken stock powder, you could add some chicken stock here instead of water. Then I add in my chicken legs, and since I wanted more protein in my congee, I added not 2 but 3 whole chicken legs. Then just put the lid on the instant pot, turn the pressure knob to sealing position and pressure cook on a high pressure for 15 minutes. And once it's done, let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes before turning the pressure nozzle to release any leftover steam. Then open up that lid and well, our congee is cooked but not quite ready. There are a few more steps. First, I'm going to fish out the spring onion and also the ginger and discard both of those. Next, I fish out the chicken pieces and be careful. These are cooked so well that the meat will be falling off the bones. So make sure you remove the legs without destroying them. Then get your whisk and it's time to whisk that rice in the instant pot. What this does is it breaks the rice into small bits and essentially turns what is just chicken stock and rice into a porridge. Now everyone likes their porridge to be a different consistency, but I'm looking for a nice gluggy mass. And you can see that lovely texture I've gotten for my congee now, so thick and yummy. Time to shred that chicken. And you can use your hands if you like, or get 2 forks and just start forking that chicken up. Start pulling that chicken off the bone, and trust me, it's gonna fall off easily because it's cooked so beautifully and it's so soft and tender. Just look at this meat here. How good does that look? Anyway, on to the next leg because you got to see just how beautifully the meat is falling off the bone. In fact, speaking of bones, just look at how clean this bone is. Anyway, once you're done shredding your chicken, you should have a nice big plate of boneless shredded chicken meat. Now add that chicken meat back into the instant pot and give it all a good mix into that congee. And if you feel it's too thick, you can add some water to thin it out a little and give it another good mix. And your congee is pretty much done and ready to serve. Now I'm going to get a nice bowl and I'm going to serve myself some of that delicious, thick and beautiful chicken congee. I'm going to drizzle a few drops of toasted sesame oil on it, followed by a teaspoon of soya sauce, the fresh ginger, and finally the spring onion. And just like that, your chicken congee is ready to eat. And oh yeah, come to daddy. I can't wait to dig in. Now don't get me wrong, I love this congee, but I like to make it a bit more of a complete meal by adding some vegetables to it. So I just like to use some basic frozen vegetables. I get this bag in my supermarket. It has carrots, beans and cauliflower. So I just take a bowl full of these veggies. I hit the saute function on the instant pot, throw those veggies into the congee and give it a good stir. Maybe add some water to it as well to prevent the congee from thickening up too much, and I cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes till the vegetables are done, and that's it. My chicken congee with vegetables, making it an even healthier dish, is now ready. And that looks super healthy with all those veggies in it. Once again, I serve up some of that congee in a bowl, get some toasted sesame oil over that, some soya sauce, the fresh ginger, and finally finish it with the spring onion. And my amped up, uber wholesome, healthier version of a chicken congee is also ready. Beef shanks are my new favorite cut and I love to eat them. And today I'm going to show you how to cook them perfectly using the Instant Pot. And we're also going to make two delicious recipes. One of them is going to be a delicious sandwich filling using the beef shanks, and the other one a weeknight dinner, a Korean style beef curry. For this recipe folks, I've got boneless beef shanks and you can buy it with the bone in and cook it no problem. Beef shanks are a slow cooking cut of meat and they have a lot of fat and connective tissue that needs some time to break down. I'm also going to be using dried shiitake mushrooms and you'll see why in just a minute. These are great for building flavor and you can buy them in most Asian grocery stores or online. This is how they look out of the packet, and normally you soak them in water, but I'll just be washing them. You can see how it looks now after I've washed it. I add my beef shanks into my Instant Pot along with some of those mushrooms. I season it with salt. I add in some whole peppercorns and 2 bay leaves. Now this is our basic flavor profile, but you can really go to town with this, adding onions, garlic, etc, etc. To this I add half a liter of water and then I put the lid on the Instant Pot. I turn the pressure knob to the sealing position and then I pressure cook on high pressure for 50 minutes. You will find all the exact measurements and cooking time on headbangerskitchen.com along with a cooking option if you don't have an Instant Pot. After 50 minutes, just let it naturally release till that pressure indicator drops and then it's safe to open it. Once you take the lid off, that's it. Your beef shanks are cooked and ready to use. You've also got an epic and delicious beef stock. If you use shanks with the bone, well then you've got bone broth. Now I fish out the pieces of meat first and be gentle because they are going to be fall apart tender. And then I fish out the mushrooms. And look at those mushrooms, how gorgeous do they look. But look at the star of the show, my friends. That beef is ridiculously tender. Now look, don't take my word for it, you can use a spoon and cut through the beef. That's how tender it is. I'm going to take a moment and savor that tenderness. Then I strain the liquid that was in the Instant Pot and there you have the most flavorful and delicious beef stock. Now folks, we're ready to make some epic meals. We've got beautiful shiitake mushrooms, melt in your mouth, tender beef that you can cut with a spoon, and a flavorful beef stock. But now it's time to cook some dishes. First up, we're going to make an epic sandwich filling using the shanks and of course make a sandwich with that filling. I start by slicing up some red onions and notice how I'm cutting it. This is called the saute slice or slicing with the grain. This is my preferred way of cutting onions for things these days. Next up, it's a green bell pepper that I'm going to slice into strips. I love green bell peppers paired with onions and beef. You can of course use red or yellow peppers if you like, or you can even skip them if you're not a fan. Time to slice up our mushrooms, and you want to remove the stalk of the mushroom because that's chewy and not pleasant to eat. So remove that stalk and then slice the mushrooms, or well, slice the mushrooms and then remove the stalk, but basically get rid of it. And finally, I chop some fresh parsley, but as always cilantro, chives and even spring onions work just as well. Now I get my pan on the stove and I add in some olive oil, and once that is getting hot, I add in my onions and I saute them. Once you have some color on the onions, add in the mushrooms and saute those as well. Then in goes my beef and I give it all a good mix. And now you can see the beef is so tender it just falls apart. It's not like I need to chop it or anything before I add it to the pan. If you look at the pan now, you can see I've got some good fond, that's the color at the bottom of the pan. So I deglaze it now with some beef stock. And I give it all a good mix and I scrape that fond from the bottom. That's all flavor right there. And now just let it cook. I'm going to add in my bell peppers, and the reason I added them now was because I didn't want them to overcook. I wanted them to have some texture when I eat them. Anyway, season this now with salt, pepper, paprika, and some garlic powder. Give it a good mix now and hang tight because it's about to get really cheesy. I add in some cream cheese and then a whole lot of good cheddar cheese. Of course, you can use any cheese you like. Now what's going to happen is that cream cheese is going to melt and so is the cheddar cheese, and they are going to meet that beef stock and make friends and become an epic cheesy sauce that coats all the beef and onions and peppers. Now cook this till it's as wet or dry as you want it to be. Then finish it with the fresh parsley. And of course give it a customary final good mix and turn off the heat. And just look at that beef. It's like a pulled beef mixture that's gonna make the most epic sandwich ever. Whoo yeah! To make my sandwich, I will be using a Vietnamese style baguette, but you can use any bread that you like. My keto fam, I got you covered. Use a keto bread recipe. I've got many of them on the channel. I cut that baguette right down the middle and I do a terrible job of it. But it doesn't matter. Now my trick for sandwiches is always to scoop out some of the bread so that you can have more filling in the sandwich. So I do that. And now I fill up that sandwich real good. I stuff that sandwich with my meat mixture and then I sprinkle on some fresh parsley and a little cheese for decorative purposes. I even take it a step further and add some jalapenos for the photographs because you know I'm a spice wuss, I'm not really going to eat the jalapenos. Anyway, my epic beef shank sandwich is ready. It really is a thing of beauty. I mean, just look at it. What a great looking sandwich. Of course, I got to cut into the sandwich and show you a cross section because I'm not a cruel, heartless person. I'm here to spread joy and love for good food. Now it's time to make dish number 2 with the beef shanks. My perfect weeknight dinner, a Korean style beef curry. We start by slicing some onions, once again cutting with the grain, saute style, just like this. Next, I chop some carrots into little quarters. First I cut the carrot in half, then I stand it up, slice right through it, then cut it into quarters. I think about 2 carrots should be enough for this recipe. On to the potatoes, and you cut this into cubes as well because if they are too big they will take very long to cook. Also, I mean, who wants a big mouthful of potato? Nice small bite-sized pieces. And if you are keto, skip the potatoes. You can use cauliflower since, well, cauliflower is the new potato. Then I take my mushrooms and I slice them up. Remember to cut out the stalk because it's not fun to eat. And then I take my beef shank, which was in the fridge by the way, so it's more solid now, and I'm just going to cut it into nice big pieces for the stew. For the curry itself, I'm going to be using a Korean curry paste. This comes in packets or in the form of cubes and it's got everything you need, including starches to thicken the curry. If you don't want to use this, just regular curry powder will also work. But of course you won't have the thickness, so it will be a thinner stew. To this curry powder, I'm going to add some water and mix everything well. This basically just makes it easier to incorporate into the curry. It's about equal parts of water to curry powder. Time to put the pan on the stove and heat up some olive oil. Then add in the onions and start to saute them. Just cook the onions till they start to get some color and go brown on the edges. Then add in the mushrooms to the pan, give it all a good mix and saute that as well. Then in go my potatoes and cook that for a minute as well. Just let the onions, mushrooms and potatoes get together and partay. Then I add in some of the beef stock. Now the potatoes are going to cook in that beef stock and they are going to have that extra beefy flavor. For my keto friends, the cauliflower will do the same thing. Anyway, I bring this up to a boil. I turn the heat to medium and I cover it and cook till the potatoes are done. This should take about 5 to 6 minutes. Of course, if you have left big huge pieces of potato, it'll take longer. Halfway through the cooking process, I open it up and now I add in my carrots. Because I don't know about the rest of the world, but in India at least, carrots take less time to cook than the potatoes. Which is why I added them in later, so that I don't have a smushy carrot. I want a tender carrot, not a smushy carrot. Anyway, cover it and let it cook. After about 6 minutes, it's time to check the potatoes, so just run a fork or a spoon through it, and if it cuts through like butter, that means it's cooked and ready. Now it's time to add in our curry mixture and give it all a good mix. And just look at that curry. How thick and delicious does it look? It's time to add in our beef to the curry and just gently mix it in. You don't want to violently smash it around because that beef is so tender it'll just turn into pulled beef. So gently mix it in. You want to now heat this up till the beef is warm and you'll be done. If the curry looks and feels too thick, you can add some water and make it as thick or thin as you like, and that's pretty much it, folks. The curry is ready, and once it starts bubbling, you can turn off the heat and just look at it. It's awesome. I'm going to serve myself some curry on a bed of rice because I'm not on keto, but keto fam, I got you covered. Use cauliflower rice instead. And then just for the photos, I sprinkle on some parsley. Now normally they don't put any greens on this curry. Like if you look for a photo of Korean curry, there's no green stuff on it. But I'm going to take a spoon and dig in now. That meat comes apart like butter. But look, enough of this food porn. It's time to taste.